Today let's see in detail the parts of a flower. Each flower consists of 4 whorls or 4 layers. They are calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Calyx has units called sepals, corolla has units called petals, androecium has units called stamen, and gynoecium has units called pistil. So you are familiar with these terms which you have already learned in your lower classes. So what is calyx? So calyx is the outermost whorl. It forms the outermost whorl and it looks green and leaf-like. Actually, when the flower is in bud stage, this calyx covers the flower. You can see the bud is covered by some green color structure, leaf-like structure. No, that is actually the calyx. So during the bud stage, it protects the flower. The calyx may be either free. So the calyx may be either free. So in that case, it is known as polycephalous, or it may be fused. In that case, it is known as gamocephalous. So if the calyx is free, that is polycephalous, and if the calyx is fused, that is known as gamocephalous. So the second thing is corolla. So it is composed of petals. So petals, it is usually bright in color. The main purpose is to attract the insects for pollination. Pollination is the process by which the male gamete is transferred to the stigma of the female flower or female part. So like calyx, corolla can also be either, it may be free. So the petals may be either free or it may be fused, just like datura, where you can see a fused petal. The petals are joined together. In that case, it is known as gamopetalous. And if the petals are free and not joined together, in that case, it is known as polypetalous. And the shape and color of the corolla varies from plants to plants. It may be either tubular, funnel shaped, or wheel shaped. That changes with the plants. So next we are going to see something called estivation. So how the sepals and petals are arranged among with respect to each other. How they either petal or sepal. So sepals will form the outermost layer, petal will form the next layer. So how they are arranged and what is the kind of arrangement between the members of calyx and corolla. So that is known as estivation. So what are the main types here? So here you have 4 types. So this one is valvate, twisted, imbricate, and the last one is vexillary. It is also known as papillonaceous. So what is the thing here? See, in the case of valvate, they will remain without touching or overlapping. So the margins of the sepals will be nearer to each other, but they will not overlap anywhere. So the second case, twisted, you can see one end is overlapping the other sepal. So one side of a sepal is overlapping one side of another sepal. So in that way it is arranged in twisted manner. So if you take a sepal, one end of it will be inside and the other end will be outside, overlapping some other sepal. So this kind of twisted arrangement is known as twisted estivation. So in the case of imbricate, you cannot be sure in which direction they are overlapping. So if you see here it is completely, can you see this? Here it is, both the ends of this sepal is completely inside, whereas both the end of this sepal is completely outside. Not only sepal, it can also be petal. Both the ends are completely outside. And here if you see, one end is inside and the other end is outside. So here one is completely embedded inside, one is completely exposed outside, whereas the remaining 3, one end is inside and the other end is outside, overlapping other. So this kind of arrangement is known as imbricate estivation. So vexillary, it is very peculiar to the Fabaceae members. So example is P, where if you see the petal, there are actually 3 kinds of petals. So the large one is known as standard petal. So these two middle one are known as wings and the bottom are known as keel petals. So these are keel, these are wings and these are standard. So the standard petal will overlap this wing petal and these wing petal will overlap this keel petal, and this kind of arrangement is unique to the members of Fabaceae. It is known as vexillary or papillonaceous. So if you take an estivation, if the sepals or petals are arranged adjacent to each other and are not overlapping each other, that is valvate. And if one end of the sepal or petal is overlapping the other end and is arranged in a twisted manner, that is twisted estivation. So if one sepal or petal is completely inside and the other is completely outside, and the remaining one is showing a twisted kind, like one is inside and the other end is outside, so this kind is known as imbricate. And the final one, the large standard petal will overlap the wing petal and the wing petals will overlap the keel petal, and this kind of arrangement is known as vexillary estivation.